What's up, y'all? Another Bible study, Bible reading, Genesis 30. It's kind of a continuation of the last video. There's a little bit less typology in this one that I'm seeing at the moment. Typology is just the types and shadows of Jesus in the Old Testament. But here we go. Now when Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, she became jealous of her sister. And she said to Jacob, "Give me children, or else I die." Now, in the tribulation, like I said in the last video, the births, all through prophecy, birth represents like a rapture event. And during the tribulation, Christians are going to be hunted down like crazy. She said, "Give me children, or else I die." Then Jacob's anger burned against Rachel. And he said, "Am I in place of God, who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?" She said, "Here is my maid Bilhah. Go into her that she may bear on my knees, that through her I may have children." So she gave him her maid Bilhah as a wife, and Jacob went into her. Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. And Rachel said, "God has vindicated me, and has indeed heard my voice, and has given me a son." Therefore she named him Dan. Rachel's maid Bilhah conceived again, and bore Jacob a second son. So Rachel said, "With mighty wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and I have indeed prevailed." And she named him Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, she took her maid Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, "How fortunate!" So she named him Gad. Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, "Happy am I, for women shall call me happy." So she named him Asher. Now in the days of the wheat harvest, Reuben went and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them to his mother Leah, Judah, the Jews. Then Rachel said to Leah, and just as a reminder, Jacob represents Jesus, Rachel's going to represent the bride of Christ, and Leah's going to represent the Jews, modern day Israel. Then Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But she said to her, "Is it a small matter for you to take my husband? And would you also take my son's mandrakes also?" So Rachel said, "Therefore he may lie with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes." When Jacob came in from the field in the evening, then Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must come in to me, for surely I have hired you with my son's mandrakes." So he lay with her that night. God gave heed to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. Then Leah said, "God has given me my wages, because I gave my maid to my husband." So she named him Issachar. It's just interesting. It says, "Now in the days of the wheat harvest." That may be tied into the timing of some event. Leah conceived again and bore a sixth son to Jacob. Then Leah said, "God has endowed me with a good gift. Now my husband will dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons." So she named him Zebulun. Afterwards she bore a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel, and God gave heed to her and opened her womb. So she conceived and bore a son, and said, God has taken away my reproach. She named him Joseph, saying, May the Lord give me another son. Now it came about when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban, Send me away, that I may go to my own place. And remember, Laban's going to represent God the Father. Send me away, that I may go to my own place, and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served you. And let me depart from heaven to the millennial kingdom, back down to earth. For you yourself know my service which I have rendered you. But Laban said to him, If now it pleases you, stay with me. I have divined that the Lord has blessed me on your account. He continued, Name me your wages, and I will give it. But he said to him, You yourself know how I have served you, and how your cattle have fared with me. Cattle likely also represent believers. For you had little before I came, and it has increased to a multitude. Now after Jesus came to earth, so many more people were following God. Like from the Old Testament days when it was only Israel to now. And the Lord has blessed you wherever I turn. But now when shall I provide for my own household also? So he said, What shall I give you? And Jacob said, You shall not give me anything. If you will do this one thing for me, I will again pasture and keep your flock, the believers. Let me pass through your entire flock today, removing from there every speckled and spotted sheep, and every black one among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and such shall be my wages. Now, if you remember in the New Testament, Jesus, there's a parable talking about going to the streets, bringing the blind, the lame, into the kingdom of heaven. I'm just kind of tying that to the spotted and speckled sheep, or spotted and speckled sheep and spotted and speckled goats. And Jesus also said, talking about the end times, this is it after the millennial kingdom. He'll separate the sheep from the goats. And we have sheep and goats here. So my honesty will answer for me later, when you come concerning my wages. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and black among the lambs, if found with me, will be considered stolen. Laban said, Good, let it be according to your word. So he removed on that day the striped and spotted male goats, and all the speckled and spotted female goats, every one with white in it, and all the black ones among the sheep, and gave them into the care of his sons. Which could represent believers as well. And he put a distance of 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob. And Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. I don't know what the 3 days represent, if anything, but probably something. Then Jacob took fresh rods of poplar and almond and plane trees, and peeled white stripes in them, exposing the white which was in the rods. He set the rods which he had peeled in front of the flocks in the gutters, even in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink. And they mated when they came to drink. So the flocks mated by the rods, and the flocks brought forth striped, speckled, and spotted. Jacob separated the lambs, the believers, and made the flocks face toward the striped and all the black in the flock of Laban, having them oppose each other. And he put his own herds apart, and did not put them with Laban's flock. Moreover, when the stronger the flock were mating, Jacob would place the rods in the side of the flock in the gutters, so that they might mate with the rods, or mate by the rods. When the flock was feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. So the man became exceedingly prosperous, and had large flocks, and female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. As Jesus is and will be exceedingly prosperous, with large flocks of believers. One other thing that's not in this chapter that I noticed, I think it may be in the next chapter. Jacob stayed with Laban for 20 years. And I believe that may represent the 2,000 years that Jesus has gone back to heaven to stay with the Father before he returns. But that's in Genesis 30. If you guys have any opinions on this, if you guys may understand this any better than me, or have anything to say about it, let me know. God bless you guys.